Hello and welcome to NBL 25 Overtime is back, and as always we have assembled the best basketball minds in the game, and they've assured me they're running a little bit late, but they're going to be here in any moment. For the time being, we've got my guys next to me right here. Peter Hooley, NBL Hall of Famer, champion, all lined up. Damon Lowry, Leonard Copeland. Peter Hooley, welcome in.
It's great to be here, man. I'm excited. The NBL 25 season is a couple of days away. We've gone through the pre-season. We've seen all these new pieces come and go. A lot of chaos in the off-season. We're here to break it all down.
The Adelaide 36ers, and we'll touch on that in a while. They've been the talking point of the off-season. Leonard, how excited are you guys, Damon?
Very exciting. We knew you were going to come out with a joke. This is Felix. We knew that. But like he said, we're excited about it. We say this every year, but the players get better and better. And I'm excited about seeing what's going to happen in 2025.
It's going to be wild. NBL 24 set the bar way up here. I mean, so NBL 25 is already looking like it can reach that bar and then some.
Well, of course, we've got to mention as well the people that built this show. Overtime, it's been going for a long time. Cam, Luke, Liam, Santa Maria, and of course the late Corey Homicide Williams. The pressure is on because they did a fantastic job, and everything has a shelf life, everything moves on. But the way that they built this show up and the fan base that they built along that, it's time for us to take over, but they've done a fantastic job.
I mean, they have. And again, all four of us actually can sit here and say how much we admire and respect what they did building it up. And we're all subs at some point along the last 6 or 7 years, and they made it very easy to slot into a show that they really built up. So we love you guys. We thank you guys for everything that you've done for this show. And it's a privilege, isn't it, to be here and to really try and see what we can do with it. But again, we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for those three. And we got something special for Corey at some point because we miss him.
We've got a little cupcake-themed award that's going to be going. Have I just blown the lead? I think I have. But let's crack right into it because it is pre-season coming to an end. It's time to run through the teams top to bottom and say who's got a chance and who we can just write off completely to begin this year. Wow. We might not be that.
I don't think
might not be that aggressive, but we're going to go straight to it. We're starting off with the Tassie Jack Jumpers, the champions. Can they go back-to-back? Peter Hooley to kick us off. Do you have much confidence that they can go back to the Holy Land?
I have confidence because, again, they rise to a challenge every single time. And if you actually break down year on year since they began, they went through so many challenges within the season. Last year, at the middle point of NBL 24, we all sat here and were saying they just keep losing close games. They're just not where they need to be defensively. And what happens? They go and peak at the right time. The year before that, they were fresh off making a championship series in their first year. Everyone said it was a fairy tale, it was one and done. They can't possibly. They start 0-3 and they go and make a top 4. So you just can't write them off. But I tell you what, as we'll talk about, they've got some serious challenges this year they need to address.
Before we jump over to you guys, we want to address that really quickly right now because hot off the press, Scott Roth made a comment. Now, clearly, the Jack Jumpers have had a tough pre-season. They've played a lot of games. We'll touch on that as well. But this just from Scott Roth recently. Unfortunately, everything I hoped would not happen has happened to us. We have multiple injuries coming out of this 2.5 weeks, which was my biggest fear. I'm extremely concerned about the roster in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Now, is this hyperbole? How much are we reading into this from Scott Roth, who's usually he's straight down the line?
He is, but look, that team is still a quality team. Like, you lose McVeigh, but you got Drimmick and Majuk Ding who can step into his shoes. And it's hard to do, but I just think they got enough talent to compete in this league. And remember last year, they were in every single game. There's no team that blew them out. So they know what they're doing, and Roth knows what he's doing. They got enough talent.
They had injuries last year. Will McNay got hurt. Marcus Lee got hurt. Milton Doyle had to go back home for family stuff. So, look, now you don't have your perfect roster because you got a few injuries. Sean McDonald, Shawnee Mack is hurt. So, like, nobody cares. Right. Don't nobody care. Don't start the season saying, I think the Scott is playing some games.
Of course.
He doesn't want to be a favorite. Now, I don't think they can win it again. Sorry, let me
don't do that.
No,
you said it.
Let me say this. No, they can win it.
Yep.
I just don't think they will win it.
Right. Very smart.
Well,
political talk.
I believe that's all. The challenges right now, again, you talk about their travel. So they had the regional games in Tasmania that ended up being an intra-squad scrimmage because the Adelaide 36ers couldn't get there. Then they were home in Hobart for a couple of days. They flew to the Gold Coast for 4 or 5 days, played 2 games, which Scott Roth said was just about getting some conditioning in. Straight off to Singapore for the Intercontinental Cup. They played 3 games in 3 days. And you watch those games, they played a lot of minutes into their main guys. Sean McDonald, who is now being reported out 6 to 8 weeks, and they go straight to Perth to play against Melbourne United, who you know is going to be hungry. That combined with they need to find 17 points per game somewhere to replace Jack McVeigh. The fear from Scott Roth, I think, is understandable, and we're going to have to see where they find those points.
But if they get the first year Milton Doyle, like last year, he played good, but then he had some games where he took the night off. If you get the first year Milton Doyle who can flat out play MVP style, I think they'll be fine, man. They got talent. They got Crawford, Doyle, they got talent. So.
One of the biggest recipes to success in the NBL is continuity.
Yep.
We saw the Perth Wildcats do it. You go through the list of NBL champions, especially the teams that have had these 3-4 year runs, it's continuity. And that's something the Jack Jumpers have done with at least their main two ingredients in Crawford and Milton Doyle.
And they're both going to step up their production. I think Milton Doyle is going to really step up and get back to that first year we saw that All-NBL first teamer, that MVP candidate, because he's going to have to, right? He's going to have to do that. Jordan Crawford's going to do the same thing, I think. But then Sean McDonald was the next one. You think about guys to replace that 17 points from Jack McVeigh. It was going to be Sean McDonald. It's going to be McJook Deng, Will Magnay. Again, you can't write them off because they just find a way to prove everybody wrong. But with the travel and the injuries, it's going to be very tough early on.
Do we remember McJook Deng in the playoffs last year?
Oh.
Was he a superstar?
Oh, yeah.
These guys live for this kind of stuff. Now, we know McVeigh's gone, and he gave them that push to get to the next round. But McDing is very good.
McDing. I've never ordered that one. I'm a Hungry Jacks man myself. I've never ordered the McDing, but anyway, I look forward to getting it. When we saw that depth chart, is there any worry for you? Of course, with Shawnee Mack out, it moves back to Brody Nunn, who, of course, a guy without NBL experience. That's going to be a little bit tough when you're going from Crawford to a guy who's coming in his first year. Now, if anyone can do it and find these diamonds in the rough, it is the Jack Jumpers.
I'm here for Brody Nunn. I've known Brody. This ain't even about personal. I've known him for a very long time. Watched him kind of come up. Brody went to college, came back. He didn't do 4 years, but he came back over here. And Brody Nunn has, which he's going to show the whole league, and he showed glimpses of it in the Blitz. This dude's pick and roll game is up here.
All right.
He don't give a damn about none of these star-studded dudes. He ain't got no fear in him. He's got poise is what I like. He's quicker than you think. He's stronger than you think. Nobody has a work ethic like him. Scott Roth went out to get Brody Nunn. Wow. He knows exactly what Brody's going to bring to the table. You go back to when Sean McDonald, when he first started as a DP, he come on to get his few little minutes here and there. That's going to be Brody. He's going to lean heavily on Doyle and Jordan Crawford. But Brody with Nunn will hit the floor. He's going to get the ball from A to B, get the ball in the right hands, and if you leave him open, he can knock that shot down.
It's something that Scott Roth does, though, right? He instills the confidence in everybody. Sean McDonald played contributing massive minutes for them over the last 2 years as a development player. Brody Nunn was not afraid to shoot the ball in the Blitz. He's coming in realising there's going to be an opportunity now. The other DPs are going to be ready. You expect Krislovic to get a bit more aggressive offensively, Anthony Drimmick as well. You just can't write off a team, even though the challenge they're going to face early is going to be tough.
What do you get out of Stein, though? Is he too old? That's the question I have.
He's going to have to play a lot more now, isn't he?
Right.
Again, you've seen we know what he means to their culture. Again, that his leadership is unmatched and what he brings to that team. But Scott's going to have to play him 20, 25 minutes a game. Where you use those spurts, where you try and find him some shots is going to be the interesting thing. But it's Tassie, man. Everyone's wrote them off every year for some reason. I refuse to do it again.
Before we wrap up the JJs, Craig Sword hasn't exactly blown us out of the water in the preseason with his performances so far. Is there any concern there?
None. Craig Sword's he's a pro. He knows how to play basketball. What he's going to have to learn how to do, and it will take time. He's not just going to get off the plane, come out here and drop 40. He's not going to do a Leonard Copeland first game in.
Tough to do.
He's going to build.
40 in the
Tough to do. Tough to do, bro.
He's going to build into it, though. He's going to play his role. He's going to be a defensive stopper. He's going to score when you kind of least expect it. He's not going to maybe have plays run specifically for him, but the guy's going to get buckets. So it's just going to be, it's going to mature as the season goes on.
General consensus, JJ's in a little bit of trouble to start the year, but we're not going to write them off. Let's jump right into Melbourne United as well. Their adversary in last year's championship series. They've lost some big names. We go through it. JLA, Hakporti, Travers, some big names on the defensive end. Is there any concern right now that they're not going to be able to live up to their usual expectations?
Well, you cannot replace those three big names.
No.
I don't care what you say. You bring in Lowe, you bring in Lee. You know, you cannot replace those big names. But what Melbourne United have going for them is they got 4 of the best guards in the entire league. These guys get it done defensively, and then you got a guy named Chris Golding who gets it done offensively. So, and plus, Dean Bickerman is a championship coach. He knows how to get these guys going, so you never count them out.
I'm counting them out.
Whoa. Oh, that's a big call.
Let me say, sorry.
Wait, he's back.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Let me back up. Let me back it up. I'm not counting them out. They're capable, but I don't think they will. And here's why.
Okay.
It was only 2 years. Everybody's saying, oh, yeah, Melbourne United, just because you see the M on their jersey, they automatically make the 6.
Well,
it was 2 years ago. the same coach had the imports, had Xavier Mays, had Rajon Tucker, had Marcus Lee, had, they didn't make the playoffs.
You're preaching over here.
They didn't make the playoffs, did they? Yeah. Did the world come to an end? No. So now, that team back then, you could argue, and I will argue, that team had more talent than this Melbourne United team right now. That team that missed out.
Individual talent,
hey, that's what we're talking about, right? Now, we're saying Jack White is back. Okay, yep, Jack White going to be good. But he ain't Walter White. He ain't about to break bad like that and take him all the way to the chip.
For those wondering who Damon thinks is going to win the championship, it's the West Sydney Razorbacks. He's going to write off every team in the league right now.
I'm saying they're capable, but I don't think so.
You don't think they have enough talent?
Well, let's have a look. Speaking of their talent, let's have a look at their roster right now, because they did lose some big parts. But again, that is still a Tier 1 roster in the NBL.
You said it before, Felix, about Tassie. Continuity is key to success in the NBL. They lost Game 5. They were a quarter away from being a championship-winning team. They bring back that. Chris Golding continues to show that he's not slowing down. Delhi, it's a new Delhi we've seen. He just turned 34. Shea Illy looks offensively mindset. Ian Clark's still there. Jack White, I think he's going to have an all-NBL caliber season. He showed that at the Blitz. And then I actually think we're underselling the Rob Lowe. When he was in Melbourne United last year as a replacement player, how good did he look? He's fit, he has a different mindset about him, and be able to step out and shoot the three is going to bring some bigger twin towers, like we're talking about the Bullets. They've got the 2 biggest guys in the league, away from the rim. Some good things can happen.
They've got good players. Every team's got good players. I'm not backing down. They got good players.
Back down on that.
All I'm saying is this.
Are they top 4 team?
No.
Are they top 16?
I have them missing out on mine.
Of the top 6?
You guys act like Melbourne United just get a pass just cuz?
No, bro. I'm just saying.
I look up and down the roster.
I've been United to make the playoffs.
God forbid you go against the Melbourne United.
No top 6?
No.
Wow.
I mean,
remarkable.
They weren't in the top 6 2 years ago. Where was everybody then?
It's true, because that was.
You guys act like they just get a pass every single year.
They don't get a pass, but let me tell you something.
They lose
you got 4 guards like that?
Hang on a minute. They lose out on 14 feet worth of dudes in JLA and Huck Porty. They lose out on LT Travers. No neck. I mean, so now they got 2 imports and no next star. Tell me how they better than what they were last year and the year before.
They're not better, but I think they'll make the top 6. I honestly think they'll make the top 4.
Let's have a look at it's an aging roster. So if you're trying to pick at fault with this roster, you can look at some of the ages here. Chris Golding, 35. Dellavedova, 34. Ian Clark, 33. We know this is the type of age where those little calves start to pop. You got to get those worrying little injuries. Not necessarily are they playing below their level, but it is always a risk going in with an aging roster.
That's a key. Again, like if we sit here in a couple of weeks, Damon comes back and there's been a couple of injuries to the older guys, then I might start to listen to what Damon had to say. The age is definitely a thing. They're getting a little bit older, but what we've seen when they're healthy, they're not slowing down. They're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the competition. Defense wins championships. And Damon, look, I respect it. You're allowed your opinion no matter how wrong you are. I respect it.
Like you said, in a couple of weeks, if there's no injuries, I'm not listening to anything Damon said. You believe that?
Well, let's touch on right now. The consensus pick with everyone in the preseason, I would imagine not with Damon from what we've heard so far, is the Sydney Kings have been the championship favourites. I'm going to start with you here, Damon, because you are the most outspoken with these. The Sydney Kings, are we at least giving them a chance?
Can they make the top 6?
Top 7?
I don't see anywhere in the rundown which says I have to agree
No,
with
you don't.
That's
We want you. We want it, brother. We want it.
Now, the Sydney Kings, they loaded. Absolutely loaded. Now, I had an issue with their size. I thought maybe with Cam Oliver, who didn't grow since we saw him last in Cairns, who is a phenomenal baller. Phenomenal. Cam is going to get his buckets. I was worried about the depth in the center department until I saw Kelly LePepe. I thought, okay. He showed me something in the Blitz that he can play that 5 spot. They're going to need that 5 spot because I don't want to see Xavier Cooks playing small ball 5, wrecking his entire, things he brings to the table. And perimeter defense, we about to see the best we've ever seen, ever. Historical defense. Bull Quall, the pit bull, the Olympian. That dude looks even better on defense, if you can even say that. We didn't see Jalen Adams, but you know what? We don't need to. We've seen enough of Jalen. We know he's going to bring to the table. So I got the Kings right up there. It's just going to be a matter of can they just put it all together on the day.
I'm not really worried about their size. I look at them like a Golden State back in the day when guys, everybody can shoot the 3. They're moving the ball. The only thing I'm worried about is if everyone's on the same page. There's only one ball. You got 10 solid guys that can play. If you start getting problems where guys want extra minutes, then that's when you're going to run into your problem. But if they're on the same page and Gordon's strong enough to keep them there, they'll win it.
The topic out of the Blitz. Of course, we know that they're going to be a great team if it can all fit together. But Alex Tui was the highlight. Last year, a lot of guys sort of dropped off their radar for the NBA, thinking, okay, maybe this isn't the guy we thought he'd be. He came out, led the Blitz in scoring, and was incredibly efficient.
Oh, he couldn't have done more. There's NBA scouts, the Brooklyn Nets GM, Sean Marks, sitting there watching this, and again, the confidence, but the work he's put on. He's put in some size as well. This is what we want to see from Alex Tui on a consistent basis. I think he's set for a massive year. This team, I love basketball all over the world. And Felix, you'll probably remember this the best, like me, because we were in college at the time. I've never seen a team so deep where I want to see, Coach Cal did in 2014 with Kentucky, the platoon system. 5 on, 5 off. They played 5 minutes each quarter. They went undefeated. They beat Kansas by 35. You had the blue platoon was Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and Marcus Lee was in that. So here's some of the minutes, right? You talk about their minutes, how they're going to, the points and difference. Jalen Adams is probably not, he's not playing 30 minutes this season. Cam Oliver's not playing 30 minutes either.
Leonard, Damon, is this where it falls apart? Because right now you've got guys that are looking for international contracts. You've got a guy who's looking to go to the NBA. You've got younger dudes that are looking to further their career in Jalen Galloway. If we do go this platoon system or you try to spread out the minutes, is that where it implodes?
I can see Gorgon having that meeting before the season starts.
For sure.
Sit down, guys. Listen, if we want to win it, is it important for you guys to win it? Then your minutes are going to be up and down. You're not going to play the consistent minutes that you are used to, but we'll win it at the end. And if we win it at the end, everybody wins.
It's one guy going to the NBA from that team.
Galloway?
Alex Tui.
Tui?
Yeah.
Now, Xavier Cooks and Kyron Galloway, they can get some maybe 10-day contracts. They might pick up something. Who knows? But all the rest of those guys, that bench platoon system, that's something, Pete.
I think
that's something. But that second unit, you got to have somebody over 6'4" in it, right?
They don't. Their tallest player listed, I did this a couple of weeks ago, is Alex Tui. Does rostered is 205 is Alex Tui. So it doesn't matter. If you literally went 5 on, 5 off, everyone bought into it, you could have a team that puts on a 10-0 run to start the game, 5-minute mark, and then you bring in fresh legs, and they keep doing that. They all play 21 minutes. No one played more than 20 minutes for Kentucky. If they did that, it would be frightening.
Oh.
Before we move on to the Wildcats, give me one reason why Sydney can win it and one reason why they can't win it.
They can win it because the talent is unbelievable and the athleticism. And I think I agree with Damon that we could see the best defensive team we've potentially ever seen. Why they can't win it is because the minutes thing is going to be fascinating to watch. Yeah. Again, I think people will be happy with it, but it's going to be like this. And how that navigates in big games, and I'll change that actually, why they potentially can't. What happens when a team slows them right down? I haven't seen it yet, what's their plan B? If Tassie, we're walking it up, we're taking possessions out of the game, how do they deal with that? I'm interested to see that.
Plenty to see. The Wildcats. Now, time and time again, we've done these pre-season shows and we've said, the Wildcats will do this. They could roll out an under-16 team right now and I'm not going to write them off. Such is the success that is ingrained in this club. So the Wildcats, look, they're rolling with a great roster this year. Nothing that absolutely jumps out at you where you say, okay, that's a championship favourite. But Pete, very, very tough to look past. Don't you dare.
I think they are the championship favourites for me.
Oh, wow.
I think Sydney are going to be right up there, but I've got Perth and I look at basketball in a certain way. I look at what they're building towards and what they've done. So they missed the playoffs a few years ago. The play-in tournament comes, they sneak into the play-in tournament. Then they finish second, and in the semi-finals they lose to Tassie, who go on and win it. So, okay, they're building towards something. The continuity's there. They said, we need to address things that didn't work for us last couple of seasons. We need rebounding. They went and got Dylan Windler. We haven't seen enough of him. I think they're hiding him from us on purpose. An exceptional rebounder for his size, but also can shoot the ball, which is the other thing they've needed to give space to Bryce Cotton. Elijah Pepper's come in, ready to make an impact. Ben Henschel looks very good. Christian Doolittle came back, and Itan Almanza is ready to make it happen as well.
Bit of spice.
So I think they've addressed key areas. A team that finished second. And I think they're going to go a long way this season.
Who starts at the point for you guys? Is it Henshaw? Is it
Who are you starting?
I'm starting Webster because of experience.
Yeah.
You bring Henshaw off the bench to shoot to score the ball. When Cotton takes a break.
That's my
Todd's the point guard of this team.
Yep.
He's the point guard.
Yep.
Now, John he's got to do what he didn't do last season. He's got to play the bench.
He will.
He's got to, because that backcourt, I'm looking at Michael Harris. This dude got to play, man. Michael Harris is for real. He got to play. Obviously, Ben Henschel. We saw Ben Henschel. I did the game last year when he went for 24 against.
Didn't play again.
Didn't see him again.
That's right.
So if Johnny can extend the bench, If he can let him play a little bit more, Bryce don't have to play 40 minutes a game. He's still going to get his 22 points a game. You can just pencil that in. But now Elijah Pepper is huge, a big scoring guard. You got more firepower. Johnny likes firepower. I'm with you, Pete. I don't have them like they're not my tip to win it. But I got them top 4. But they got that much talent. It just depends on what Johnny use it.
Do you have Johnny's phone number?
Yeah,
can you call him and tell him?
I've never
They
called
were
him
teammates.
Can
Johnny,
you call him and tell him to smile sometimes? He's lost his smile, man.
He is a very, very hard man to please.
He's ready to go, though, this year.
Okay.
Their next start in Almanza was the interesting one. Watching the Blitz for me, the offensive end, he had that little sky hook that was pretty good. But for a guy who's super young, the defensive, the shot block time, the stuff that you can't teach was what was most impressive for me.
You know, we haven't talked about Pinder. Pinder had a pretty good year last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. Let's not forget him. He's still very good, along with Cotton. Those guys can carry a team themselves.
Well, he needs this year, Pinder needs, and if you agree with me here, he needs to become the Robin to Bryce Cotton's Batman.
I think
he needs
he
to
did that
really
last year,
own
didn't
that
he?
role.
He got there, right?
He got there.
Got there
But again,
eventually.
you ask everybody, and you guys can probably attest to it, but when you come in to a team that hasn't established Batman, but not even just Batman, you're talking like the gold standard of Batman in Bryce Cotton. It takes a while to understand where you fit. And
especially if you've been that man before in Cairns.
And it's not like he was going to tussle and say that, oh no, this is my team. He was just trying to find out where he fits. So I think he's destined. But Almanza, he is going to be more impactful, more dynamic for Perth than Alex Sarr was. I think because of the way that they'll use him, he's unique, he's different in that aspect. And I think they've got enough pieces. But you say Ty Webster, I think he's their starting point guard too. But it's also safe to say that he's probably not in their closing lineup. And I think that's okay. You can close with Bryce at the 1, Windler, Doolittle, Almanza or Harris, and Pinder. That's probably their best closing lineup. So there's a lot here for John really to work with. But I'm liking what I see from the Wildcats.
As we always do, like from the Wildcats. 4 teams down, plenty to go. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to NBL Overtime. We're 4 teams down in our season preview, and it's time to jump into a team that I think may have some of the most pressure on them at the moment, and that's the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, because they finally have a team. Now, they've had a couple of teams over the years that have been, people say contenders, but this, for me, legitimately, top through bottom, is a team that should contend for the championship.
They'll be a top 4 team for sure. They've done an exceptional job of recruiting 9 new faces. It's been a big clean out, and we know Mitch Creek, they parted ways together mutually to move on and say we're going to go in a different direction. Mitch Creek had other things to go for overseas. But they brought in Derek Walton Jr., who I could not be more high on in terms of what he could do this season. But have a look at their depth chart. And they brought in Nathan Sobey, who's not slowing down. And then they said, how do we make our 2 star guards' life easiest? Let's put elite shooters in Wieskamp and Matt Hurt around them. And the best rolling big man in Geordie Hunter in the league. And there's space for days. And they are going to run up the scoreboard every single night. They might not be able to stop anybody, but maybe it might not matter.
Is there a concern right now? Because we look down to the bottom, their centres. Geordie Hunter. He's the only one we got listed. If Geordie Hunter gets in foul trouble, God forbid gets injured, he's had an injury history in the past, how much trouble is this team in?
They're in a little bit of trouble. You need some size. I mean, but the one thing about this team is, like Pete said, they got a lot of shooters. They're offensive minded. They're not going to shut anybody down. They're going to score more points than most. And when you watch them in the Blitz, they played the Sydney Kings. Sydney came out on fire, but they kept going and kept going and kept knocking down threes. And before you know it, they're in the game.
My mom used to say if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. We can't just keep saying, well, if this happened.
If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
You know you heard that before.
Is this like if I had wheels, I'd be a bike type?
One of those, yeah. We just can't
Let's go with the
saying,
bike one, because I have no idea what you just said.
We just can't keep saying, well, if this guy get hurt or if this thing happened. No, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix are loaded. So, and they got hunger. So, Nathan Sobey. You know he playing with a chip on his shoulder after what happened with him in Brisbane. You bringing in 2 fresh imports. You bringing in Angus Glover, who also got a chip from last year. He been balling out. And I like the next star, Malik. I like him. They got a lot to work with.
We look at this Sobey and Derek Walton Jr., who are just going to be one of the best backcourts in the league. And Pete, I'm sure you're saying the best. How do you think this works? Because Sobey, from what we've seen, is much better in the 2 spot, and he looks like he's going to be able to run that without.
Again, I think it's going to work because it'll take some fine-tuning. They'll figure it out. What bothers me about the Phoenix, they only pick 1 preseason game to have a real crack at it. I think with so many new faces, they probably should have done 2, but it was the Sydney game, and they ran over the top of them late, which is very impressive. What Derek Walton Jr. does, I think, gets guys involved when he has to and then flicks the switch himself. But again, we can't understate it enough. Wieskamp and Matt Hurt sitting in the corners, 2 knockdown shooters. There's space for Sobey and Walton Jr. to just have a field day.
I got a question for you now. Sobey was the man in Brisbane, and Sobey, he put the Brisbane Bullets on his back. Is he willing now to take a step back and let these other guys shine a little bit to make them a better team?
Does he need to take a step back?
I don't
think he needs to take a step back on the offensive end.
What you think?
I think he needs to. I don't know if he will or not. I don't know. Because you've been the man for so long, it's hard to take a step back. You know what you can do. He's a very good player. But now you got Walton with the ball in his hands. You got all these other guys who can shoot it. If he doesn't touch the ball in the first quarter or he takes 1 or 2 shots, is he going to come out in that second quarter and try to get it off? That's the question.
The whole league going to have this issue. It's that much depth. Every team got like 2 starting 5s in it.
There you go.
So we can ask that to every team. I feel like Nathan Sobey wants to win.
Correct.
He wants to win. And if he don't need to be Nathan Sobey's superstar to win on this team. He'll have his days. And he'll have his minutes. And he'll have his passages of play when he's the best player on the floor. And they'll share the load.
And circled on the calendar is when Nathan Sobey matched up against Brisbane, because some fighting words out of the Brisbane camp. Some fighting words. Don't you try to underplay it. Something we're going to have to watch out for. But the Illawarra Hawks, now, one of the most exciting ones. Again, top through bottom, every single team has something to tune in for. The Illawarra Hawks, the first time we're going to see Justin Tatum throughout the entire season. Your early thoughts?
Sitting here, once they told me that Damon was joining us for this first step and we're going team by team, I was worried about getting the Illawarra Hawks, because maybe we should just let this man take this little step. Very excited for what I think that the Hawks can do. Again, we keep saying the word continuity, but it's proven, right? You do that long enough and success happens. They've brought back mainly the main group of guys. They've brought in, I think, Trey Kell's going to have a massive year for this Hawks team. I think that's an underrated signing, definitely. And then what we're going to see from Olbrich, Sam Froling, again, they're taking another step forward. But Darius Days, who just gave them buckets playing for the Shanghai Sharks. They just said, hey, you know what? We like that. We've been looking for a piece. And I believe it was the other way. I think Days picked up the phone and was like, things aren't working out for me here. JT, how about I come and join? And they're going to be very fun to watch.
Days in that 3 spot with Olbrich. And you got him at the 4, but I'm sliding him in the 3. I'm putting him in the 3 spot. He's that good. I like what he does. Olbrich and Froling, that's a mess. Kell, Harvey, that's a great lineup. I love that lineup.
There are no wrong answers. Every team, again, got that much depth, but the Hawks have brought back, like you say, Pete, everybody. My only issue was how they going to replace Gary Clark, first team All-NBL.
Did they do it?
They went and got a younger version of Gary Clark, 24 years old. I'm watching him shoot the 3-ball, tick. I'm watching him post up, shoot turnaround jumpers, tick. Then I watched his motor. It was an offensive rebound. He came flying from the 45 and went off. I was like, uh-oh. They got a hungry young dude. Now, all they got to do now, Trey Kell slides in seamlessly. That's a massive upgrade on your boy from J-Rod from last year. No disrespect. Massive upgrade. I'm saying now, that team last year lost in overtime, beat United and losing overtime. They in the grand finals, they in the championship series. It just game 3 fell apart for them. That same team comes back with a full year under Tatum. They hungry. I feel like it's their time.
Are they the deepest team in the league?
If not the deepest, the top 2.
You have me? Do you have them in the top 4?
I got them winning it.
You got 8 teams.
I got them winning it. I got them winning it.
You got 8 teams in the top 4.
No, I don't. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Always Hawk hate. Always Hawk hate.
Hold on. You got Illawarra Hawks finishing. You got the Illawarra Hawks winning it.
Stutter.
You got them to win it?
I got the Illawarra Hawks finishing first. On top of the ladder.
Well, that may be the best story coming out of Illawarra, but another one that'll be great is if Lockie Olbrich can make the jump to the NBA. Because if we're going to talk about Alex Tui from the Blitz, remiss of us not to bring up Olbrich. 17 of 17 from the interior. That's unheard of, and frankly, it should be illegal. Son, if you're 17 from 17, keep shooting the ball. And he was hitting from outside.
He was amazing. Whatever he put up went in. But the good thing is, he wasn't forcing anything. He got it in the game, in the actual offense for them. He's very good, very young, but I love what he brings to the table.
He probably had one of the dunks of the Blitz as well. Probably a dunk of the year in the Blitz.
Him and Tui.
Actually, and Jalen Galloway. So that's going to be fun to watch. Dave O'Hickey's another one who's set for a breakout year. And you talk about hunger, Damon. The word for me is happiness, man. I did the media days of the Blitz. This team, the vibe around this team from Justin Tatum down, these guys are just always smiling, having fun. If they show that they can do that battle test of last year and keep that vibe up, so there's no reason why they can't be. They're a top 4 team for me, for sure.
Nice. Top 4 team. Leonard, one reason why they can win, one reason why they cannot.
They're full of talent, like he says. I love what Days brings to the table. They can win it if they have a bit of luck and they stay healthy. But the reason they can't win it is perhaps they're too young. I mean, Over's still young. He's young, man. I mean, days, you know what I mean? He can play, but he's still very young.
A lot of youth there. Everything we hear out of this camp is they love Justin Tatum, hopefully, because they are fun to watch. They were fun to watch at the end of last year, and we hope that continues. But one of my favourite segments that's going to be happening this year is Peter Hooley, our resident snitch. Hools is hearing. Oh, how's the skin going? I don't know who made that graphic, but they should be put in prison.
That's great. I am hearing some things, and it's so obviously next star Roman's been working out. He was at the Gold Coast. There's 3 teams that are in the hunt for him: the Adelaide 36ers, the Illawarra Hawks, and the Cairns Taipans. The Cairns Taipans want Roman really bad. The Cairns Taipans, Adam Ford believes that he can unlock Roman, and you think about what he can do on the floor, the type he plays. It is an Adam Ford type player, a 2-year prospect, what he can build, and what he loves the most about him, talking to 40, is the fact that he had rugby commitments, right? And I think Tassie, they were like, we kind of need you to choose. 40 was like, mate, he's got loyalty to his rugby people. He committed to that before the Next Stars at the time, and he said, you know what, I'm sticking to this, and then I'll do all the rest of it.
Yep.
And that loyalty for 40 means more than anything. So I'm not sure where he lands. I think that'd be the front runners because he's in Queensland and all of that, but also because he's going to play there, and he just seems like the perfect Adam Ford style player. But he's very keen. They want him.
Quickly from you, are we worried about him switching codes to the NRL or to the rugby union?
You're always probably worried when you've got that much talent on both sides. But again, I think that's probably why you think about what team he probably suits best, I think it's Cairns. That the style they play, the way that Ford coaches is probably one to just really hone in on, hey, this is your future, and we'll get the best out of him, and we could see him in the NBA after the Next Stars.
You bring Kelly Laupepe into that team with Rob Edwards and
goodness.
Roman, you got yourself an NRL team right there. We've got plenty more coming up after the break.
What can the Breakers get done on this final play of the game? 5.5 remaining. Meninga's just going to jack it and connect. One for the road for Sam Meninga.
Jonah Antonio closes out the second quarter, doing things exactly as he loves to do them, hitting a bomb.
Might have a half-court heave here from Jordan Crawford to beat the buzzer. Oh, the scoop shot goes! Jordan Crawford with the running man underarm.
He is tiny.
Mitsubishi Motors threes, and that Jordan Crawford one, he snuck in there with one that didn't count on the highlights. But I'll tell you the name on that list that I reckon is going to climb up as the season goes, Matt Mooney. 7 in just the 3 games, but boy, gives me shades of Rodney Clark. All thanks to Mitsubishi Motors, we've been getting the leading threes all year. That's just the Blitz. But that's Matt Mooney. I cannot wait to touch on him because he's exciting. An exciting Rodney Clark style guy. But right now, we're going to go with the Adelaide 36ers, who the theme of the off-season has been dysfunction. Now, winning fixes a whole lot, and so does signing an NBA Sixth Man of the Year. Let's see how far that can go. But Leonard Copeland, you reckon there could be trouble in what we probably won't even describe as paradise for the 36ers?
There's been trouble in paradise. I think they got a lot of talent. I love what the point guard can do. He's a scorer. He's not a point guard. He's a scorer. Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I fair to say that?
I don't know about that.
You don't think he's a? You don't think?
I think he's a point guard. But
I
keep
think
going.
he's a point guard that loves to score, and he's good at it. But the problem is, you got guys on the side waiting on the ball, and if they don't get the ball, there'll be more trouble in Adelaide. You got DJ who can shoot it and thinks he's and knows he's good. You got Montrez coming in who's not going to be standing there counting his fingers. Isaac Humphries needs the ball for them to win. Now, if he doesn't touch that ball, I'm calling right now. There's going to be a fight. There'll be a fight in Adelaide.
There'll be a fight in Adelaide?
Somebody will be going at it in Adelaide.
Well, I'll tell you what, judging by past, I reckon Montrezl Harrell might be going at it as well. But you're right, there is going to be, you're saying that with Kendrick Davis and DJ, they're not going to be able to coexist together.
Well, let's hope so. You got to sit down and have that conversation. Yes, you get your points, but I'm going to need the ball too. They're superstars. They're both superstars. But you can't have one guy getting it up every time. But he's good at it. I'm not saying he's not good at it. He's very good at it. You got something to say.
Every single team, man, got this much talent.
Yeah, they do.
And they're going to have to trust each other. We don't know which every team.
That's what I'm seeing in the Blitz.
Every argument could be made for every single team. Okay. Now, I will say this. I picked them to make the 6 based on Jarrell Martin being healthy.
Right.
Now, when I find out that he's not healthy, I'm thinking, who they got? Oh, they got Montrezl Harrell. Okay, now he hasn't played in a year, but if he's 60% of what he used to be, I'll take it. So I still got them there because they got firepower. Now, they'll work out the kinks on who's going to be the man this particular time. All this stuff about this is my team, this is my team. It ain't nobody's team. It's the owner's team.
Okay.
That's whose team it is.
It's been like that for the last 6 years.
Don't act like, one guy is going to make all the decisions on the team. It's got to be a collective.
With Jarrell Martin coming out, the massive signing, one of the biggest when you look at pedigree in the history of the NBL in Montrezl Harrell. He spoke to the media at the airport. Let's have a listen to this one.
A lot of fun, actually, man. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready to, just start playing basketball, man. I've been away from the game of basketball at a high level for probably about a year and a half, man. So really it was just a full-out experience, man, from the flight all the way over here and, now finally landed. So I'm just ready to get to work, really.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, when I walk through airport security, I am sometimes wary of even bringing a watch because it's annoying to have to take stuff off. That man had about 3 kilos, give or take 5 kilos, of jewellery around his neck.
He had our entire NBL playing salaries in one chain, let alone all the rest of the chains. So you talk about counting fingers, he's going to be counting chains in the corner. But again, who can control it? Have a look at all the chains that's going on there. It speaks to his resume,
Just
right?
put it in the box.
Hey, he had their salary, not my salary. He had their salary.
For
2 bums.
Can I steal your Halls' hearing, though, for a moment? And one thing that worries me, and I hope that this is wrong, but there's a lot of scouts out there and there's a lot of people that are just worried whether this will be a character fit at Adelaide. If you are that good and you're not in the NBA, I know there's been injuries, but sometimes there's a reason. And I hope that there's no blow-up. I hope there's no off-court issues. I hope that nothing comes of this. But I know that there is concern that maybe this could go south.
I don't think it will here, though. I think that, again, I think the rest of the playing group understands. I mean, he's signed as a short-term replacement for Jarrell Martin, right? Yeah. But we could also see that if things go the way they should, if Jarrell doesn't get back to 100% in time, it's 4 to 6 weeks, to be honest. It probably looks more like 8 weeks.
Yep.
Then they might end up making a decision then. But there's also the possibility of, if Jarrell's healthy and they can make both work, they'd have to let someone go. But you could have both still on the roster going forward. But I think that all the players understand that Montrezl wants to get back to the league.
That's the thing. There's no doubts about that.
You can kind of lean on that a little bit. I think he's going. What I'm trusting in is Mike Wells. I think Mike Wells, helped get Montrezl here as well. I think Mike Wells, his pedigree, just speaking to him a little bit the last few weeks and how much the players have bought into him. He's not afraid to have the tough conversation, and I think that he will do that early and often, and he's going to have to.
But scoring 20 points is not going to get him back to the NBA. He's a hustler. He's a rebounder. He plays great defense.
That's what does he have to come and average 30 and 20 to get back? No. Guys come back. They show they're healthy and they show they're impactful in whatever minutes. And the NBL has proven that the numbers really don't matter. Right. If the eye test is what matters, he'll get another chance.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right over to the Brisbane Bullets. Justin Schuler continuing to just build this team around him that have had a lot of experience with him. While he hasn't been the Brisbane coach for a long time, there's a lot of players on this roster that have spent a lot of time, whether it be juniors or elsewhere, with him. And it looks like from the preseason, the Blitz champions, now you can't read too much into it, but hey, if you're going to start somewhere, not a bad place to go.
Winning the Blitz is like winning the NIT NCAA championship.
CBI.
No, it's the CBI. We used to call it March Sadness because we'd always be playing in that.
Look, it's good that they won because now that's a habit. Winning is a habit, just like losing is a habit. Yeah. And one thing about this year Brisbane Bullets team is Schuler has got his team he wants. His team he wants now. No players hanging around that maybe was contracted but didn't really fit what he wanted to do. I like that. You bring back Casey Prather. Looks way more healthy than what he did last year, and we all know his work. Then you bring in Ding Adele. Oh, man, Ding Adele's impressive. Now, the Ding Adele that everybody thinks they know from 2020, that Ding Adele don't exist no more. That Ding Adele was hurt, didn't work out. Yep. This Ding Adele right here is the one that we all thought was going to be that NBA dude. I like that piece. I like Bateman in that squad. We haven't seen Josh Bannon, but we all know what he can do. This team, they need Sam McDaniel to get back healthy. But I like the Brisbane Bullets. I like their makeup. I like their leadership with Mitch Norton. And I like their point guard play. So I think it's going to be a real good season.
Top 6, top 4? Top 6?
I don't have them in my top 6, though, but they're going to be just...
I just relax.
Hang on.
It's a tough league. It's a tough league.
The way you talked about it, and then all of a sudden...
Some teams are going to be stiff to miss out this year.
That's right.
From top to bottom.
It's going to be stiff.
It is. Yeah,
so you've got right now Brisbane and Melbourne in the bottom 4. Who are the other 2 you've got in the bottom?
Don't worry about my bottom 4.
It doesn't add up, man. Your math ain't mathing.
My math is fine.
Your math ain't mathing.
The math ain't mathing. But Tyrell Harrison, of course, the guy, MVP of the Blitz. He's been a revelation. A guy that's been there for a long time, but just had a rough run with injury. Finally starting to see some of him at his best.
Yeah, he looked unbelievable at the Blitz. Again, he looks more assertive offensively. Again, put on more size. What I'm fascinated to watch now with the Bullets is they have the two tallest players in the league, and it's by some margin, Rocco and Tyrell Harrison. Now, when they come up against other teams that are going to play smaller, whether it's the Sydney Kings, who Cam Oliver playing the 5, Cooks, Le'Pepe, is Justin Schuller going to say, no, we have too much of an advantage ourselves, so we don't want to match it? Or is it going to be more of a chess game where they're going to have to slide guys down, like Bannon to the 5, guys down to play small ball to match? Because you look around the top bigs or the centres around the league, they're not really back to the basket guys other than Isaac Humphries. Yeah. Keanu Pinner's putting the ball on the floor. Cam Oliver's putting the ball on the floor. Sam Froling's putting the ball on the floor. I'm fascinated to see whether he just says, you know what, we're going to match whatever you do, or we're that good doing our own way. We'll figure it out.
It's a guard-heavy league, and the Bullets have the advantage on the inside. Break next. Couple more teams to go. Welcome back to NBL Overtime. It's time to crack into the Cairns Taipans. Sound the alarm bells, because they built this team around Taron Armstrong, and he's out for the first couple of weeks. We saw throughout the Blitz. Rob Edwards looks fantastic. Some good pieces here for Cairns, but you build the team around a player and he's going to be out. You might be in strife, Leonard. Indeed. They don't have a point guard. No Kyle Adnam. You know, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle early, but you know 40 will have these guys playing hard to give them an opportunity to go out and win. It's tough.
Yeah, you come to Cairns slipping if you want to. You're gonna leave with an L. They're gonna struggle though. With no backcourt. But Rob Edwards, shout out to Rob. Rob, I'm from Sac Nasty, man. Saginaw. So he's from Detroit, Michigan. So anybody from Michigan can ball. He will get buckets.
Anybody from Michigan can ball.
Man, Rob Edwards looked like he ate Pat Miller. Like that is a big, strong dude that can slash through the lane.
He's good, man. Again, and a lot of people, he was active on NBL socials, putting the laughing emoji and all this. He comes with the reputation to be a scorer. His nickname was the Microwave. Yeah, in the G League. And we saw it. He can heat it up quick. Yeah. He's going to be probably their leading scorer, but the non-Taron minutes in general are my biggest concern about the Taipans. And now he's out. He's going to be, here's their point guard issue. So he's out 3 weeks with a calf issue. Kyle Adnam 4 to 6 in the Blitz, and Jackson McCoy who's suspended. So they brought in Tad Duffelmeyer to hold down the fort. He'll get everybody else involved.
He's capable.
He'll get everybody else involved. Yeah. But the biggest thing is, even in the Blitz, when Taron did play, when he was on the bench, Rob Edwards slid down to the 1. And that's not his game. He needs to be scoring. He needs to be their leading go-to guy offensively. You don't want him to try and facilitate, get everybody involved. I think, again, Adam Ford, you play hard enough, you're going to win enough games, so there's no issues there with
What makes it so hard, because we know that as it does every year in the NBL, it comes down to 1, 2, 3 games making the finals. And I feel like this start of the season is going to be tough for the Taipans, which could really, really hurt them on the back end. But the New Zealand Breakers, anything you knew about the Breakers in last year's season, rip it up, throw it out, because it's all changed. The biggest turnover we've seen in the league this year. And look, it's tough to get a read. Gillespie's going to be missing the first game because of the old whack on Nathan Sobey and only got 1 game.
Wow.
On Sean Bruce. You've gone back to the 2018 Grand Final Series. That was Nathan Sobey was the headbutt. That was a long time ago.
But that's, look, Gillespie being out for the Breakers is a pretty good. I thought he was good on the defensive end, maybe had a bit to work on the offensive end, but that's certainly going to hurt them. And Parker Jackson Cartwright still questionable.
Well, no, I've just got word. He's back on the floor this week. Dislocated a finger in the Blitz. Didn't look good to go out to get back in. But the word is he's back on the court, so they're going to need him to play. It's an interesting watch, man. Again, they've got the toughest schedule by far. It's not even close to schedule toughness compared to anyone else.
Are they doing NBA trips again?
They're going across to the NBA after round 2, I believe. And I'll tell you what, that's something to watch. So here it is, right here. So they got HoopsFest. They go back to play a game at home. Then they got the Jazz and the Thunder away. Then they have 3 doubles in a row. Wow. What happened last year? They went to the NBA. They brought Anthony Lamb back.
Yeah.
Ooh, Keep an eye on the NBA trip for the New Zealand Breakers. They're notorious for, hey, we're over there, we're going to try and do the best we can. But they don't mind just having a look at what's available, and if they have to make a move, who knows what they'll do. So I'm always interested to see when teams
do you have anything rock solid that they're looking at?
No, they've got nothing there. But again, when teams have shown in the past they're not afraid to make a move and they're already in the States, there's always a chance that they might do it. Anthony Lamb was the best signing they could have picked up last year in the NBA, so I'm interested to see what's around.
Mojave King's been very good as well. The way he played in the preseason was fantastic. I love to see Jonah Bolden get more opportunity. I love him to take some more shots. He loves to go to the glass, but he didn't seem like himself in the preseason. He needs to pick it up a little bit.
Another team with talent. This league is tough, man. It is tough.
Top 6? I got to ask you. I got to ask you.
Thanks, bro.
I don't have New Zealand in my top 6, but they're going to be tough, though. I mean, PJC obviously got to lead everything, but they're big, though, with Mening out there shooting threes, Jonah shooting threes. I like Lopez, too, man. Like, Mojave's an athlete. Mitch McCarron gets a new breath of life over there, man. Look, they got talent. Matt Moody can stroke the rock. I mean, look, they're going to be good. Like, good ain't going to be enough to get you in the top 6 this year.
Yep.
Good will not be enough.
I got a question for an old school player here. What happened to posting up the little guy? What happened to...
They tried. Some teams tried the Blitz. He just pulls the chair.
No, they pull the chair.
Basketball, they don't do that no more.
You got to have an IQ. I know he's got to pull the chair.
How much are you giving Damon if you posted him up out the back?
40.
Yeah, I agree.
Post him up all the time, and he got forearm to the kidneys all the time.
And he's still at 40, though.
Nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying with his size, he's coming at you. But on the other end, I'm trying to get him in foul trouble to get him on that bench.
With all the roster turnover, new coach for the New Zealand Breakers, this is a team that could potentially have a bit of trouble towards the start of the season. But you face them in the back end, and they've got their stuff together. They've got the chemistry working, who you don't want to be facing. Even if they're, out of making the top 6, they could click at the wrong time for a lot of teams.
No easy beats. Every single game, man, it's gonna be a rock fight. You know how tough it is to win in New Zealand. It's gonna be tough to beat. Everybody's gonna be tough to beat.
What's a rock fight?
Yeah, what is
a rock fight?
What is a rock fight?
Rocks.
You guys ain't never thrown rocks?
Like Kevin Hart. I thought the Rock. I thought Dwayne Johnson.
Only you watch them rock movies. I'm talking about actual rocks. It's going to be a slugfest, is what I'm saying.
Did you get hit?
It's going to be a slugfest. What time is it?
we used to make
There will be growing pains with the New Zealand Breakers. Stick with it. There will be growing pains. The tough schedule, the roster turnover, all of this. There will be growing pains. But if they peak at the right time, as Damon said, there's so much talent. You never know.
And they go over there and pick up an ex-NBA player. You never know at the end of the season.
Happen.
Well, that's the thing. Hopefully they can get something over there. But it's time. All thanks to our friends at Sportsbet for the trend is your friend. Now the season, as it goes on, we're going to get all these trends. Who's shooting threes? Who's missing threes? Which teams are the best to match up on? This year, we're going to have to go to the Blitz. And the team that I want to focus on, who I think is the best value bet in round 1, is the Brisbane Bullets, coming up against the New Zealand Breakers. Now, the Brisbane Bullets, Justin Schuller is continuing to build this team that has played under him before. There is a lot of guys that have got plenty of games under the belt, as I said before, whether it be juniors, all sorts of other things. And the way that Tyrell Harrison is playing has been absolutely unbelievable in the preseason. And we spoke about it's a guard-heavy league. They're going to have two big, the Twin Towers, in Rocco Zikarsky and Tyrell Harrison. Now, you're coming up against a team in the New Zealand Breakers who are going to have Gillespie out because he wanted to go all Zidane and headbutt during the Blitz. Yeah, so he's going to be, I had to think up something else there. But that's going to be one where I think as the outsider sitting around $2.93 in that game 1. Do you see an avenue where New Zealand can even contest that game?
I just think Brisbane are a bit too strong. I mean, you showed it in the preseason. And like you said, they're too big. They shoot the ball well. They got great imports. I think they're too strong.
It's the one game, really, that you needed Gillespie there. You talk about how well Harrison's playing, Rocco, to just match. Gillespie has the defensive reputation. Sam Menenga's going to have to do a lot of
Bolden's going to have to rebound.
Bolden's going to have to play the 5. He wants to play the 4. It's the one game they couldn't afford to not have Freddie Gillespie.
You have to see which is 6'9".
Yeah.
Grant, 6'9". He can get down there, too, and do some post work and bring you out on the perimeter to shoot threes. Look, the game could go either way. I'm tipping Brisbane, but it could go either way.
Got the you like the long hair on, Grant?
I don't mind it.
Bit of Adam Morrison about it?
Bit of character. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Tyrell Harrison, we didn't touch on him too much when we spoke about the Brisbane Bullets in their season preview, but look, MVP of the Blitz, a guy that we really want to see a little bit more of, and we've been waiting for a breakout year, but just in sheer size, when you look at him out there, one of the most impressive players.
He's healthy. He's gone through a lot of injuries over the last couple of years, but he's playing with so much confidence now. Every time he touches the ball, he's looking at the basket now. He's not looking to pass the ball out. So that's a big difference in him this year.
Post play, I know the modern game wants to get rid of post players, but you get one dude that commits to going down in the block, going to the body shop, putting in work.
Yep.
He gonna get buckets. He gonna get fouls. He gonna suck the defense in. Guys gonna get open threes. He's a willing passer. I'm a huge Harrison fan. Got a lot of his stock this season, so I'm expecting a humongous year from him.
Well, that's where Brisbane are going to be able to surprise a couple of teams with a different style. If you're subbing in Zikarsky, who it's going to be fun to watch him develop throughout the year, and Harrison,
and he's getting better already.
It's just a different game style, and these guys are so good at not overcomplicating it, just using their height. Staying in the right dunker spot.
Rim protection, all of that. So, again, they have a unique advantage over the rest of the competition with the two tallest players. And James Bateman. James Bateman is a phenomenal pickup.
Smith Milner, don't forget.
Hey, can strap up from the outside. Smith Milner, another guy.
Tall dude who's going to get another shot. I like he looked good in Blitz.
Brisbane Bullets taking on the New Zealand Breakers. That's going to be the bet of the round. The Bullets as outsiders. We're up next.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Welcome back to NBL Overtime. It's time for one of the best things to do in the pre-season, and that's the way too early predictions, because no one can be wrong before the season starts. But as soon as it kicks off, well, they certainly can. And Copes.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be kicking us off. Way too early predictions. Give us your champion, MVP, and all NBL first team.
Champion are the Sydney Kings, because I think they're just way too talented, and they got a great coach. Bryce Cotton, you can never underestimate Bryce Cotton. We always do, and he always comes up and shines. First team, Cotton. Davis, who shoots the ball well. Jack White, who is going to do everything, rebound, score. Xavier Cooks, same way. And surprise, Terrell Harrison. Guess what? He's playing great basketball. We just spoke about that.
Yeah, he is.
3 bigs, by the way. It's a positionless all NBL.
That's right. That's right.
I've gone the Perth Wildcats, which I mentioned. I think it's going to be fun to watch how they play. Derek Walton Jr. I've spoke about. I couldn't be higher on the signing. I think he's set for a big year. My first team, Walton Jr., Bryce Cotton, Milton Doyle, who people keep forgetting about Milton Doyle, Jack White and Xavier Cooks. And I think that right there is a thing of beauty, fellas.
Not bad. Not bad. The talent in this league is crazy. Look at the champions. Look at the champions. Illawarra Hawks.
$1.
They're going to break the drought from 2001. MVP is Bryce, because he can get 22 points a game in his sleep. My All-NBL first team is Bryce. Kendrick Davis, the newest member of the Little Big Man Society. Sobe with a point to prove. Zave Cooks and Tyrell Harrison, Coach. You ain't the only one on the Tyrell train.
There we go.
The Tyrell train. I want to jump on that one as well. Don't have him in my all-NBL first team, but the champion, of course, the Sydney Kings, loaded from top to bottom. The only thing that can destroy this team is infighting, and we hope we don't see that. MVP, Bryce Cotton. Underestimate him at your own peril. Year in, year out, we see people go the other way, but Bryce Cotton, you cannot underestimate him or the Perth Wildcats, the all-NBL first team. Cotton, Walton Jr., you've talked me into it, Pete. Will Magnay, Xavier Cooks, and Milton Doyle. Fellas, last year's championship series, the way that ended, is there any way on earth that this season can live up to the same sort of hype?
With this much talent in the league, I'm expecting something just crazy.
It continues to find a way
It finds a
to
way
raise above. I mean, we might not see the greatest shot of all time again, but we're going to see the NBL 25 is going to be bonkers. And
We say it every year. It gets better and better and better.
It does.
When you bring a little more talent.
And it all starts in HoopsFest.
That's right.
And once again, just to drill in the fact, outside of your top 6 is Melbourne United.
Yes, I didn't say it was not a Christmas.
That's all from NBL Overtime. Enjoy round 1.